up so much. Like, I wonder just when they get a good team on it, they never stay on it. So I wonder how long these guys will be.
I hope they keep him. Usually Chris Bracello goes in for the long haul, but
I never thought this book would hit so many issues, to be honest with you. It's kind of surprising.
No, right? It's going to 26. Like, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Spider-Man 2. All right, so we are back, and we're going to kick this book section off with Spider-Man 2, number 5. This is the wrap-up to the series. And yeah, so we'll discuss what's going down here. We got team of Brian Michael Bendis and a vast art team on this wrap-up here with Sarah Pichelli and Mark Bagley on pencils. They also do some inks along with Elisabetta D'Amico and John Dell, and then Panzer on colors. Corey Pettit is doing letters. And yeah, I mean, it's been, I don't know, this has kind of had a silly release schedule. It skipped a month at one point. Like 2. My memory was a little fuzzy coming into this, but basically Peter and Miles have just been messing with Ultimate Universe Taskmaster and playing this cat and mouse game with the Earth Prime version of Miles Morales. And we kind of ended issue 4, I think, basically where the cold opening to issue 1 started, with Peter basically chastising Miles and telling him he really wasn't worthy of being Spider-Man. And then this issue picks up basically with Miles and Peter having a long talk, and Peter telling him he's sorry. And they just have a lot of Brian Michael Bendis moments / discussion. Goes on for about 3 pages too long, and I lost interest in right away. You know, the long and short of it is again, Peter apologizes to Miles for saying he didn't deserve to be Spider-Man previously, and they kind of move on with their day. And this kind of weird moment happens where Peter ends up webbing Miles's face, and you're like, I had no idea what was going on, really, at first. And then you see Peter's face is also webbed, and they're using the web as like this way to filter out the smoke in the room, obviously dropped by Taskmaster, who has hunted them down. He's found them. And it's weird that these guys keep fighting without their masks on. Like, I've literally never seen them fight so long without a mask.
Fucking ridiculous.
In my entire life, as they have in the series, it's pretty much been 4 issues of fighting in your costume with no mask. But they start tangling with Ultimate U Taskmaster. Really just this fight going on until Miles decides to bust out his trusty old Venom sting to buy them. I don't know. It depends how long this thing lasts for. It can go from totally incapacitating somebody and taking them out to just momentarily stunning them, which is what it seems like it does to Taskmaster here. Meanwhile, while this fight is going down, who I call Scarface Miles, is setting up the teleportation system that was used in the very first series of Spider-Man by Mysterio, basically. And he wants to use this to transport himself to another one of the universes in the world that his Barbara that was basically killed or died would still be alive on. So that's what he's trying to do. That's what the entire point of his story essentially is. Spider-Man Miles confronts Scarface Miles, and before he even gets like an entire sentence out, gets shot in the shoulder while Peter continues to fight Taskmaster, who's supposed to be knocked out from a Venom sting. And Miles, Scarface Miles, just steps into this new universe, and I guess once he does that, this building starts collapsing. Is that what happened? I mean, it was weird transitions. I couldn't really, like, because this thing never made buildings collapse before that I knew of.
Yeah, I have no clue why this building is collapsing. Like, I guess it took a little bit of damage, blown out the
from
window,
this fight.
But
yeah, the windows, when it hurt the foundation, they keep going in and out of these windows in this fucking story too.
But it just makes no sense. Like, why would that building fucking collapse?
I don't.
No idea.
I thought maybe I missed something you would have picked up on, but no, neither of us know what's going on. But the building starts collapsing. Everyone starts retreating. His taskmaster just hops in a car and takes off. I think Spider-Man gets out, Peter Spider-Man, but I think Miles just stays in there and has like the building fall on top of him, but nothing really happens because of it, and he just digs himself out. And the two Spider-Men meet up, have a quick exchange of words, and then decide to scram from the scene. Miles, Scarface Miles, starts exploring the new universe he's been transported to, and in record time finds the version or a version of Barbara he was looking for, and they begin to hit it off. This girl has the thing, I guess, for guys with scars all over their face. Doesn't scare her any. And while they're cool. And while they're eating pastries or whatever the fuck they're eating, I couldn't really tell.
Hogs or something.
Yeah, whatever that is. They notice a giant fight occurring outside, which basically comes busting into their storefront. And it is, I mean, it could be Ultimate Universe Spider-Man, and I don't know if this is another Ultimate Universe. It's kind of what it appears to be. As that Spider-Man is fighting Ultimate Green Goblin with a combination of the other Ultimate and kind of current universe heroes popping up as well, because there's a Riri there. And then I mean, that's the best I could tell what's going on. It's like another version of the Ultimate Universe.
I think it is the Ultimate Universe, which is just fucked.
Is that like, where everyone's coming from? Like, I don't. Anyway, who knows? We don't really get any answers, because that part ends and we wrap things up with Miles and Ginky. We're just having a talk like buddies, and possibly discussing Miles moving on from the Spider-Man persona altogether. And I don't know, there was at one point in this book brought up the name of Venom Blast, which is stupid. I don't know, buy, borrow, or forget. I don't understand what the purpose of this miniseries was.
Nope.
The Scarface Miles never really came off as a threat, even though they went into like his backstory. I mean, other than inviting over Ultimate Universe Taskmaster to get him this teleportation portal, which I guess is what he did. I'm still not even totally sure about that.
And he's stuck here too.
I don't really know what he did wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I don't understand the entire purpose of Spider-Man, the Spider-Man going after him and trying to stop him. And yeah, like, I guess you shouldn't hop universes, but who gives a shit in the long run at the same time? Like, I don't know. It wasn't like he was transporting guns and stuff to make money or anything like that. Like, it just
was
a story with no point.
Technically, he did not do anything fucking wrong, so it's like, why are they hunting him? Aside from Miles wanting to know what's up with him, like,
yeah, that's it. Essentially, like, Miles, I guess, wanted to know what was up with this Miles that nobody could find any information on. He got no answers in the long run, and this Miles disappeared. So I mean, there's really, like, you could look at this story 6 different ways, and whatever way you look at it, there's no point to it. So other than the art, which I wasn't even a huge fan of in this issue, but it was better in probably the first 2 before it went downhill. There's not really much saving grace to this story. I was really kind of gung-ho on buying the trade before I read any issues in the story, just to kind of complete my Spider-Man collection and have the sequel to go along with the first one, which I did enjoy.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, there's no point in me buying this trade. I won't. Yeah, it's a forget if you can't tell what I'm getting to. It's a forget it altogether. And I'm sure.
Poor Sarah Pacelli.
Yeah, I know. Like, she does. Like, I feel like she didn't even have, like, her name's on this book, but I don't feel like she did a lot in this issue. Probably besides the ultimate new look and stuff. You know.
he didn't give her anything to draw, and then we get to the Ultimate Universe, and it's Bagley. Bagley does all the Ultimate stuff.
Yeah, there we go.
He's doing some of the best work of his career right now. Because I really liked his Venom stuff, but anyway, this book was a pile of crap, and I had various problems with it. One that I want to get off my chest was Miles and his stupid fucking mask. This kid's fighting fucking Taskmaster without his mask. And it gets worse, right? Because he's fighting Taskmaster without his mask. And not only that, but they, when they kick Taskmaster out the window and him and Peter jump out the window after him, the art shows Miles with his mask on when he didn't even have a mask. So it's like a complete art fuck up. Like they draw him with, and then like, so he doesn't have his mask on. They follow Taskmaster out the window. He as he's falling out the window in the next panel, he has a mask on, and then you turn the page and he doesn't. And there's a couple of panels where he has the mask on, and then you turn the page and he doesn't have the mask on again, and it's just ridiculous. All right, so what else? I got a few things. Where is it? Oh yeah. So, oh god. So he's chasing 616 Miles. The Scarface Miles. It's just this whole story is fucked up. We didn't get any answers at all, just questions. I mean, I guess we found out about
why did Scarface Miles have to set off the teleporter in that exact location? It feels like he
could have went anywhere.
Yeah, like I don't understand that either.
He did. He purposely went to this spot, and he could have went fucking anywhere. He didn't have to go there. And I mean, we did learn about his backstory, but why we never heard about him. It's just so fucking dumb. He leaves for the Ultimate Universe to find his dead girlfriend and live happily ever after, which is fucking stupid. Not to mention, we didn't get any explanation whatsoever about how Miles, his family, Genki, and all the other Ultimate characters that are living in the 616 right now, why they're there, why they are refugees in the normal Marvel Universe, when the Ultimate Universe still exists. Because when all this started, all these characters were here because it was like the Ultimate Universe didn't exist anymore, but it does exist.
Right.
So what's the point? Why is Jimmy in X-Men Blue? Why is Genki here? Like, what's this any of that makes sense? None of it makes fucking sense. So like, you got, what about the ultimate Thor hammer from Mighty Thor? You just see Thor with the ultimate Riri and fucking Giant Man and Hulk, and he's got his ultimate hammer. How the fuck does he have that ultimate hammer? It was just destroyed, and Bendis doesn't give a shit. He writes the shitty
he's got
story
his own
that was
universe.
Yeah. It was just bullshit. Peter and Miles having conversations for 5 issues, and he doesn't really explain anything. He just kind of tells a story about the 616 Miles with this dumb fucking origin. He goes to prison, becomes best friends with Kingpin. Who gives a fuck? And he just takes a hot shit on Marvel continuity altogether because he doesn't give a fuck because he's leaving. It was just so lazy and uninspired. It was just the worst. The absolute worst. It's a complete fucking waste of time. I feel so bad for anybody. I bought 2 issues of this, and that's it. And I feel bad for anybody who spent money on the rest of it. It's just complete and total garbage. Don't buy the trade. Let him go to DC and write shitty Superman books.
I know. I'm worried for that because those are one of the few books left I'm enjoying over there too.
I know. And the worst part is he does good with street level characters. He's writing Defenders right now. It's great. When he wrote Daredevil, it was great. When he made New Avengers was more street level than cosmic or anything. It was great. He doesn't seem like the type of guy who can do big things anymore. If he's not interested in it, then it's gonna suck. But if he's interested in it, then it's gonna be halfway decent. So DC, just please give him something that he's really excited about, because if he's not excited about it, we're gonna get the worst fucking garbage on the face of the fucking planet. This.
No, you're just gonna get talking heads.
Miles Morales Spider-Man's the same.
Yeah, we're both in the forget it camp here for Spider-Man as an overall series and as an individual. Spider-Man 2 number 5 issue.
Here's a new rating. Burn it. Don't just forget it. Burn it.
Yeah, if you have it, burn it. Even though burning books is frowned upon, we're giving you a pass in this case. Uh, but yeah, we're going to transition to something that was a little more fun, and Trevor's going to take it away for Tales of Suspense, number 100.
Yeah.
You ready to go here?
I'm ready to go. Fuck yeah. I really enjoy this book. Thank God. So, Tales of Suspense, number 100. If I can get my screen to stop maximizing on me like a fucking whore bag.
It's
okay, here we
basically
go.
a new Hawkeye and Winter Soldier team up book with a fancy title.
So Tales of Suspense 100, written by Matthew Rosenberg, with art by Travel Foreman, colors by Rochelle Rosenberg, with letters by DC's Clayton Cowles. And you just know, if Clayton Cowles is attached, it's something special. Because he doesn't do bullshit. So,
yeah.
And who's the editor on this? It's got to be one. And Alana Smith is the editor, and she usually does some good stuff too. She's one of the better Marvel editors. So the solicit goes a little something like this. Red Ledger, part 1 of 5. Springing from the pages of Secret Empire, the Black Widow is dead, but someone is killing her enemies. With a broken heart and a bloody trail to follow, Hawkeye is looking for answers. And the only person alive who may have them is Natasha Romanoff's other ex-boyfriend, the Winter Soldier. Can they trust each other long enough to unravel the web of mysteries that Black Widow left behind? Who knows? I added the who knows. But I started off, I got really deep into this opening because I thought it was fucking hilarious. So I described this the best. So we start off this issue at a wake with Hawkeye waiting in line for his turn to pay his respects to someone he doesn't even really know, wishing they would serve drinks already, thinking about how a wake never really helped anyone and how closure is bullshit. If anything, experience, you should hold on longer because letting go never fixed anything for him. It's his turn, and this is where things start going bad for him. He leans in just way too fucking close to the corpse. And like the look on his face, like he gets real close and he's like gritting his teeth like, ugh, this guy's fucking gross looking. So so he gets he leans way too close. And this guy butts in and asks, who the fuck are you? And this is where the fun starts. So he tells the guy that he knows him. Like, he's like, how do you know Dave? And he's like, oh, I know him from yachting. Like, oh yeah, we owned a yacht together. Like, this is the most fucking ridiculous thing. So he asks the man if he knows. He asks the guy that asked him, like, how do you know the dead guy? And that's when the guy just walks away, and Clint's like, hey, where'd you get that drink? Which was kind of a mistake, because when he's chasing after this guy, asking him how he got a drink, other people start to take notice. And this draws the attention of a second man at the wake who stops Clint and asks him his name. He tells him his name is Clint Yacht, because he just can't let the yacht thing go. But not spelled the way you think. I love it because he's like, yacht, but not spelled the way you think. So it's totally different. So the man introduces himself as Peter Antone. Clint comments on all the personal security that this guy has, and the guy Peter tells him that it's because a lot of his colleagues have been dying lately, and he can't be too safe in his line of work. So Hawkeye asks him what he does for a living, and it turns out he's the ambassador to Chinea, which I can't remember which book, but Chinea was a big thing in another Marvel book not too long ago that I covered. So they have a bit of back and forth, and the conversation is over, and Peter's walking away, and Clint whispers in passing, "Hail Hydra," which is just fucking ridiculous. And he tells Clint he doesn't know what he's talking about, and sick security on him, and then the fun starts happening. Arms get bent back, folks get thrown, and then the corpse gets knocked over. Then Clint grabs a fucking candlestick, and as a weapon, more like a candle staff. So he grabs this candle thing. The candle fucking falls up. Curtains go up. The funeral home is a fucking blaze. He's looking up at the ceiling, watching it catch fire, and then he gets punched in the face. And then while he's fighting the guy who punched him in the face back, he sees a guy out of the corner of his eye grabbing a fire extinguisher, and then kicks the fire extinguisher out of the guy's hands, and it goes right out the window, and he punches this little old man in the face. And when the guy asks, "What the fuck's wrong with you?" he's like, he realizes that the fire extinguisher was to put out the fucking fire, not to hit him with.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you get the credits page. So so now we're outside, and Clint's kind of apologizing for burning down the funeral home, but not really. And the cops come over to get a statement. When he tries to explain himself, his explanation sounds so ridiculous and far-fetched that the cops try to arrest him. But then he flashes his Avengers ID and basically tells the cops to screw. And that works because, you know, nobody fucks with the Avengers. So then he leaves, he bounces off to Chinea. And next we see him, he's getting off the plane. And then while he's waiting in line to go through custom, he's complaining about the long line to get into the country. And one of the passengers fills him in on what's going on with the protests. There's a lot of protests going on in Chinea. They're on the verge of collapse, which is also going to lead to a military coup. So it's not really somewhere you want to be at the fucking moment. So in between the splash page that all this is taking place on, we get we get a look at some mysterious set of hands holding a box with some kind of Slavic writing. And so then back to Clint making his way down some Chilean streets after he leaves the airport. And he's crossing the street, and he notices he's got a tail because, you know, how many guys with no necks and fucking neck tattoos are up to good stuff? I guess not a lot.
No, not usually.
So he slips down an alley, and then he sees a crowd of protesters, and he blends in with them so he can lose these two idiots. So at this point, Clint's gut is telling him that this is some kind of setup. You know, whoever he's chasing after knows he's coming. So he's working on a play, but you know, he needs a diversion. Like he gets to the NBC to the embassy, and there's all these protesters outside, and everything's going fucking crazy, and he needs to get in. He doesn't know how to get in, so he's working on a play to get in there. He needs some kind of diversion. Then all of a sudden, a fucking explosion goes off, which gives him what he needs to get inside. So he fucking goes and just attacks a guard, and then immediately surrenders. He gives up so he can get as close to the wall as possible. They put him right before they put him in cuffs. He sees who he thinks is Black Widow running across the rooftop of the NBC. Oh God, I was going to say NBC again. The embassy.
Watching too much TV.
NBC. Too much TV, I guess. I don't know. So yeah. So he fucking hops the wall of the embassy. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. I can do it, folks. I can do it. So he escapes the guards. He makes his way over the wall. And, you know, he makes his way up to Peter Antone, the guy he met at the funeral, the ambassador to Chinea. He makes his way through his window, and he catches him burning fucking Hydra documents. And Clint draws back a fucking fist arrow, which is kind of Green Arrow-ish. I know Clint has, like, trick arrows, too. But, like, it just reminds me of, like, Green Arrow's boxing glove arrow. So he draws back the arrow, and Peter immediately starts to confess to being Hydra and tells Clint, when he saw him at the funeral, he knew Clint was there to kill him. Clint tells him he wasn't there to kill him. He's here to save his life. And then all of a sudden, he feels movement in the air. And I can buy that because he was a ninja for a little while when he was in New Avengers. He was Ronin. So, you know, ninjas, that's some ninja shit, feeling movement in the air, I guess. I've never felt movement in the air. Maybe I have, and I just don't realize it.
Yeah, right.
But all of a sudden, shots start ringing off, and they fucking hop and jump behind the desk, and he's protecting them. And he realizes that it's the Winter Soldier. And right off the rip, you can tell their relationship is tenuous at best. They fight and yell back and forth, fingering each other for the assassination. Clint thinks Bucky's here to kill this dude. Bucky thinks Clint's here to kill this dude. And then they both realize they're here for the same thing. The only difference is that Clint thinks it's Black Widow, and Bucky is a little skeptical of the idea. So, you know, he came there to stop Clint because he thought it was him. So while Bucky is looking around the room, he finds some evidence which brings him over to Clint's way of thinking. He tells Hawkeye that the Soviet assassin program gave each member their own unique symbol as a calling card, and the file cabinet has a symbol on it, and it just happens to be the one that they gave Black Widow. So Hawkeye is curious, you know, why the calling card left if no one's been killed, nothing's happened, we're both here, he saw the woman running on the roof, so what the fuck's going on? And then the ambassador goes to open a desk drawer for some strange reason, God knows why, the desk is flipped over. And then we see the label that we saw in that splash page from earlier in the issue. And it's a fucking bomb. And boom, the whole fucking floor explodes. And to be continued. I don't know what's going to happen to Bucky and Clint. That doesn't look like it doesn't look survivable. And I don't know if they noticed this guy with the bomb. Like, you know, I mean, they noticed something fishy going on, but I don't know
if this dude, if this is like a Black Widow planted bomb and this dude opened it up on accident going for the gun.
Yeah, I think that's why he's going for the gun. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she definitely planted that bomb.
Yeah. So it was a pretty cool twist ending. I like that.
Yeah, they gave us the hint earlier in the issue during that splash page, like right in between him getting off the plane and walking down the alley, and that confused me at first. Like when I saw it, I'm like, "What the fuck is this box?" Like in between these panelings, like had nothing to do with anything on either side of the splash page, and I'm like, "What is this?" And then at the end, the second time I read it, I noticed. I was like, "Oh yeah, there we go."
Yeah, it's pretty.
I mean, I had to read it 2 times, so. I really liked this book. It was pretty good. I had action, I had comedy, I had some political thriller shit going on with the assassinating of ambassadors and all. I love the characterization of Hawkeye. He's a badass that's not to be messed with, but at the same time, he's kind of a funny jackass. Bucky doesn't show up till towards the end of the issue, but it still works for the story. Rosenberg definitely had me wanting more. I like the fun bickering between Bucky and Clint. I assume we're going to get more of that as it goes on. I can't wait to see more of this. You know, it's like an international road trip of 2 guys hunting down their dead ex-girlfriend. Like, well, come on. Yeah. The hijinks that's going to ensue is just going to be hilarious. So, once again, Rosenberg shines with the great dialogue and the story. The clean artwork from Travel Foreman was fantastic. He puts together some great action scenes and did a great job with some facial expressions that made the comedy resonate a little more. Like I had me giggling out loud, especially in the funeral scene. I love the colors, especially in the funeral scene, the somber purples, blues, and grays. It really worked. It was fantastic all around. It's definitely a buy for me, especially when you get to the end. I know sometimes people skip the letter pages, but definitely check out the letter page because Rosenberg answers a bunch of letters from the 60s, and it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah, I don't feel much different than you. I definitely liked it. It's kind of like a kind of a Jason Bourne teaming up with somebody and going on the hunt. It reminded me a little of that, kind of like plot wise. And I like Hawkeye's humor and you know that international espionage stuff. I can deal with that for 5 issues. That should be fun. I like you said, you like the colors. I would like just a more basic colored comic book. Like it reminded me of Sorrentino a little bit, the way some of it was done, not all of it, but you know,
towards the middle and the end.
Yeah, it didn't ruin my enjoyment of it. It still looked good artistically, but I would have just liked a little more traditional colored book, and that would have done a little bit more to help you know, increase my overall enjoyment level of it, but it wasn't a make or break thing for me. So I would also rate this guy a buy. You know, I like the miniseries concept they've been doing lately with like the Spirits of Vengeance and Tales of Suspense and stuff like that. And if like they just come out with if they come out with like another even like an arc with different characters and keep it under that same banner, like I would, if it's characters I'm interested in, would be willing to check it out. So you know, I mean, I definitely like the way they're doing it.
Yeah, especially like say like New Mutants, like, you know, Rosenberg's gonna be doing some New Mutants, like, you know, maybe stuff like that doesn't come around often. Like I think the last time they had a New Mutants run was like the 50-issue run that started with Zeb Wells and ended with Dan Abnett. And then you don't hear from it from like, you know, from these characters for like a decade. You see them here and there, some of them in other books. I mean, I guess Cannonball and Sunspot was pretty much Avengers now, so you don't really see them in mutant books, but it's nice to have like a mini series every now and then, like maybe do like 1 5-issue mini series like a year. This way it's not a long running book, so we can get to see some of our favorite characters whenever we want. You know what I mean?
It's less to keep track of too, because like I've just as I get deeper into comics and stuff, like I found I like to be you know, following only a couple kind of really long running series. and then kind of mix in like some miniseries or some shorter arcs of different stuff. Like, so I'm just not reading the same thing all the time. That's what kind of sometimes it feels like when you just get sucked into nothing but ongoings. Like it's just so much to
Most
keep track
definitely.
of all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you a
But yeah, we're
chance to
gonna
check
wrap.
out different things.
Yeah, yeah, and like different characters because like reading about Batman and Spider-Man all the time. Literally, even though they're my favorite characters, sometimes it can get just like boring. You just you kind of know what you're getting, and sometimes I need like that James Bond-esque spy stuff to mix it up, give me a little different flavor in my comic book reading.
Especially with Batman sucking as much as he has as of late.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, I've liked the Batman, the mini series out lately a lot more than the ongoing personally. But
oh yeah,
yeah, that's what some of these miniseries do. They help keep your your vision fresh, I guess you could say, so you don't just get sick of the medium. But yeah, we're gonna send it off to the midpoint facts here. We got one character to spotlight that's gonna pop up in the Jean Grey book we're gonna cover later in book section 2. So we'll be right back. All right.
I know Daniel Acuna did work on Jeff Johns' Green